Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Signal 11 Lures podcast. We call it Signal 11 Outdoors here on YouTube. Today, we're going to be speaking with someone who it happens to be our second ever repeat guest. I had one other person that was a repeat guest, and this one, we weren't sure if it was going to happen, but we found out that it is happening. So tonight, we're going to be talking to somebody that is going to be giving us some details on possibly one of the coolest, is my opinion, one of the coolest badass New Jersey bucks I've ever seen. And I've seen a lot of the pictures that are out there for many years and the records and all of that stuff. But we're about to enter into that. And the person that I'm going to speak to, which you're going to get introduced to in a minute, we did a previous podcast, this gentleman and myself, about 5 months ago, and we did it on New Jersey Multi-Species Outdoors. It was actually the first time I ever did a podcast. I did it on their platform. They're good friends of mine, Joe and Chris, and Deuce is behind the scenes. So if you want to see the previous episode to this, which is really cool, it's about 45 minutes. I think it's episode 93, and I think it says I forgot the title of it, but you can't miss it because it's the only one with a gigantic buck. Because that's mostly a fishing podcast. So go over to New Jersey Multi-Species Podcast, check out episode. It's like 92 and a half. And it'll be the episode to what we're about to get into now. So I'm going to introduce you to the guest tonight, and his name is Mario Tummillo, and he is a friend of mine and somebody I've been following for years on social media, and I've gotten to know him a little bit. And he has a wild story of a absolutely incredible New Jersey buck, and you're going to get to see it tonight. Mario, welcome.
Hey, what's going on, Steve?
Good, man. Good to see you. Happy to have you back. As soon as
Thanks.
you start.
Yeah, I found the other side.
Yeah, I think as soon as you started speaking, the camera goes wide angle and they're seeing that monster behind you. So we are here tonight to take a look at that buck. I'll be popping up pictures that Mario has sent over to me. I'm not sure how many people have actually seen the buck mounted, but here it is. And so, Mario, give us a little insight on how things went down after the hunt. Like I said, many people in New Jersey know about this hunt and this buck. I think probably over 100 people were probably chasing him, correct?
Yeah, there was a lot of people after this one. There's a public land buck. So basically, it was end of the season. I think it was the week before it was done here. He came in during like it just started snowing real hard. I saw him for like two. I saw two deer coming across, and they had to come up a hill. When they came up a hill, the one buck I had already passed, big one, and this one I was watching that one, and this one came up, and I just saw him, and I could see the one side so clear. Um, the way that the Y was, and I wasn't thinking about maybe a chance of it dropping a horn or anything. I just saw when I saw the kicker on this side, the two kickers, I knew which deer it was, and I had just missed a big one the week before, and I was just like locked in, like on a perfect. It's got to be a perfect shot, and when I shot him, we looked probably for an hour for the other side of the shed. It actually fell off. I didn't know until the next day that it was missing already. Um, and so we were looking for no reason. And then a friend of mine, a really good friend of mine, he's a big shed hunter here. He found it probably almost a mile away, and he didn't find it until I think, oh man, probably like April, I would say, May.
Okay.
Around then he found it. And the one that I missed ran with this one, and he found both sets to that one. And I said, dude, it's got to be within 100 yards because they were together for years. And I think it was like 90 yards from the double drop, where they both fell off. Or it was probably in its bed on the one that I missed. And he called me the next day and he's like, you owe me a steak dinner. I said, no way. And he found it. I went and bought him the most expensive steak I've ever bought him and his wife. It was Mother's Day because that's when I gave him the steak. So it was a good Mother's Day present for me.
Awesome. I
Yep.
mean, you covered a lot of things right there. And for folks that are watching just this, because now I kind of have my own, subscribers and followers and stuff. So basically what you were saying is you had a mishap the week or so before where you missed a nice buck that
Yeah,
was
and it was
hanging with this buck.
yep. No one that I know of ever seen this buck out of the stand. A couple people say they never even had daylight pictures of it, which I probably can count them on two hands in like the past 3 years. He was always a non-typical from when I found out about him, which I think was 2000. It might have been longer than that. It might have been 4 years ago. And the guy that found the shed to him, he didn't find the year before. I think he found 28 sheds, this dude, this year in that area. He didn't find the one from before, the year before that, because it's very distinct, non-typical. I'll have to send you some pictures of when he was younger and everything. Never found it. He found the one that like I needed, and then my taxidermist was able to put it back together, Joe. And it literally fit like there's a so like when they the rack falls off, sometimes you get a little skull plate on there or something. It was like a vampire tooth, like one pointing dagger right in the front, and it pieced right in perfect. He was able to get it in there, and yeah, I was just so lucky.
It's incredible. I mean, I can't imagine. What's like a word or two to describe the time between when you finally dragged that thing out and looked and knew you didn't find the side, the missing
There's
drop side, to when your buddy finally called you? I mean, what was that whole
I
span of a couple months
I don't
like?
even know what I could compare it to. It was like, I just looked personally with friends, my buddy Johnny, another buddy of mine that I hung with, a couple buddies I hung with, Dave. I mean, we walked miles. My buddy Josh, up and down, looking all around, thinking, everybody says that shed buck will be within a couple hundred yards of where you got him or yada yada. It was, I think, to be exact, it was like point nine or point like just almost a mile away. And the area that he was coming from was just like mind blowing. Like there's other cameras that I had that he could have went to and that he never did.
So
Yep.
let me just hit on something else because again, you and I did the first podcast. Now we're doing the second one, folks. If you're listening to this and you have any confusion at all as to how this went down, you got to go watch the first podcast because it was fresh. It was Mario is explaining how he talks about the buck fever and the excitement, and obviously Mario
It
shot a lot
just
of deer,
started
but
snowing.
started snowing, you know,
Yep.
and like you said, you picked out the stickers coming off of the one side, didn't really get a
Blacked
good,
out.
didn't focus on the rack. I never focus on a rack. I mean, if I know I'm killing a buck, it's usually obviously it's before you shoot it or
Hmm.
draw or whatever. There's no way I'm looking back at the rack. So I could fully understand how that happened because I've
Yeah.
shot bucks that when I went up to him, I went, fuck. I shot him broadside. The side I was looking at was good. The other side was a little shitty. I got at least two or three bucks like that, and
Yeah.
I still did the Euro mounts because it was an awesome hunt, and they're all deserving of something, and so they're on the wall.
Yep.
But I could see where I would never focus on that rack because I would
Yeah.
never be able to get the shot off.
But yeah, but when this was at the end of the year. So me and my buddy Josh have this year we had probably 12 tacticams. And at the end of the season, there were so many people trying to move in on this deer. There was people that were baiting spots that were hunting uh in good spots, like where I knew that could possibly be, you know what I mean? So you want to stay away from their spots, but you're trying to get into a spot where you're trying to hunt a deer without bait, run hunt, a late season, catch them going to a farm, you know what I mean? There's across the street. And it's hard because you don't want to be like in somebody's area. You don't know if they're hunting unless you see their car or whatever because you're on state land. You're trying to respect that. And it was just like, it was crazy. I mean, I just so much happened in that couple minutes that I knew we had the 12 cameras set up all on runs. We stopped baiting at the end of the season. We just set it up on runs and we would wait. I seen this deer and probably a bunch of other deer coming and going every day, not moving until right at dark or something like that, or um, fronts, winds, everything. And I knew exactly when I saw the one point that it was what deer it was, and I just blacked out because there's no. I was after the one that I missed, and I didn't even think about this one ever even coming. And the deer that he came with, it was a big 8 pointer, and I passed him up a bunch, and I didn't think that he would ever be with that deer out of all the deer. You know what I mean? That deer came in quick, and he was almost under me on the run, downwind, and then this one was behind it. So when I saw, I was just like, I couldn't even remember. You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
remember seeing between the tree I saw it and everything, and then I knew that as soon as he stepped out, he was quartering to me slightly, and I had to make a perfect shot. It was snowing, the most biggest snowflakes I ever seen. It just started, and it was all so quick. I mean, that's
Yeah, certainly is. Before we go any further, what kind of score do you have on them?
so my taxidermist did a rough score, I think 165. And he was explaining to me some of the non-typical points. It's so weird in New Jersey, and I'm not sure if it's everywhere. I heard it's going to have 10 inches of non-typical points or more to score it like that, which this has way more than 10 inches. When I scored it, according to the app, which I'm not any professional at all, it was like 180 something. I don't know, like a couple things I don't know is where the mass is on the rack between the points, the G2, G3 and stuff like that.
Right.
Where if you take it at the smallest or the biggest or the like where do you measure that at? So I could lose or gain a couple there. That side is a lot more palmated. So I don't know, I would say between and I think I would say like 165. I'm get it professionally scored. I have a couple people that reached out to me about doing it. I don't know if they know really how to measure a buck this size. So if there is a professional scorer that you know or something like that that
Yeah.
has or someone that has this kind of experience with non-typical and all that stuff, let me know. Obviously, this deer
Right.
can't be entered in any classic. I would just want to score professionally for myself. You know what I mean? It was a shed buck. I'm not trying to put it into anything like that or just want to know personally. You know what I mean?
Right. You have to. I mean, well, it's funny. I say you have to. I don't have a score on any deer I have on my wall over here because there's nothing big. So
Yeah.
I've
Well,
never even wasted my time.
one of the guys that reached out to me though that said he could do it, he's in South Jersey. He had said to bring some of the other deer that I have over here that you really can't see because a couple of them I shot the regular bow. One was a muzzleloader, so they could. I don't think they would be up there, but like it would be somewhere in the mix. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So I am thinking about bringing him a couple if I get time ever. You know?
Yeah, no, that's a good idea. When I go out to Ohio, and I could do this every time I go out to Ohio, and I'll never get any better at it. But the outfitter, I'm in Jay's family room, and he's got his deer in there. The outfitter
Yeah.
the deer that he hunts or hunted before he even became an outfitter. And he's got some monsters in there, and so all these different racks. And we'll sit there looking. He'll be showing us on the TV what our targets are for the week,
Hmm.
and then we'll sit there and we'll look at the ones on the wall. He's got some euros and full mounts, a lot of. I mean, it's unbelievable. It's his own personal collection, and he still actively hunts. So what he'll do is he'll ask his hunters like, what would you score that? And
Yeah.
I tell him straight up, dude. I mean, I probably don't have
Yeah.
anything over 110 inches, So
Yeah.
I take shots at it. So he's got I'm going to say he's got 20 on the wall. Okay. And I'm off on every one. And I'm trying not to just guess, right? But the interesting thing is when you start to get bucks like what you have there, the one you just
Hmm.
got, they are deceivingly bigger in the number category than
Hmm.
people think because he
Hmm.
has some tight palmated bucks that are nice, really nice, but they're not
Hmm.
like ones that you would walk in, holy shit. But when he tells me the numbers, I'll just throw numbers out there. If they're over 150s, and I'm like, really? That thing's like, yeah. He goes, because. So I
The
don't know.
mass.
I wouldn't. Yeah, there's so much to it. I don't know anything about it because I don't shoot anything that big. But if I
Mhm.
ever did, I would do what you're doing. I'd take it somewhere, and I would probably get a number done on it.
Yeah, I'm pretty good at scoring them, but at looking at them, but not. I never seen a deer like this myself either. I have one that's up higher. You can't really see it that I got in uh Ohio. Sorry, you froze up.
There you go.
That I got
That's
in
okay.
Ohio, and I'm sorry, Illinois. I got this one in Illinois, and it actually had a broken tine on the one side. And when it jumped this fence and came like right under me, and I was 10 feet off the ground in a cow pasture, it was freaking crazy. I
Right.
stood up and it didn't even see me, but I didn't even see the one point that was missing on that buck, and it still scored I think 132. I just remembered the mass on it, knowing that that would help me. I didn't get to look at the spread, which is only one measurement. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And all that stuff. But I think I have a couple that are probably like, low 100 to 120 each deer, maybe. I just would
Yeah.
like to see what they are. But it's crazy because typical wise, so I like to do a lot of running and gunning, I guess. Like I do have cameras everywhere, but I don't want to hunt those areas because there's already other people hunting those areas with being public. So they're pressuring it. I don't want to add my pressure and stupidity to it. So there's times
Right.
where the wind is not working where I'm just not going to go not hunt. I'm not gonna not hunt. I scout with my eyes and then maybe get lucky. And there's times that I've killed deer like that too. But without knowing without having a camera and you see a deer, there's twice where I let a buck go that I'm looking at it at shooting range and I'm like, and I'm like, damn, I should have shot it. Now, I don't really like that I didn't shoot it because it wasn't a record or wasn't like a monster. It was over 100 inches, but I just let it go. And people are, why you let that go? And I take a video of it or something. And eh, I'd rather see somebody else gets it that's going to put it on their wall. You know what I mean?
Sure. Oh, that's cool.
So
I'm happy there's guys like you out there,
yeah, I mean, and
so I
also I
can get
have
a
a
shot at
big
something.
private area, so now,
Yeah.
so you know what I mean. And I should have probably got the one I should have definitely shot, but It is what it is. I mean, it's hunting, you know? Some of these guys take it too crazy.
Yeah. Oh, there's no doubt about that. So is this your personal best or
Yeah. Well, besides the one that was up last time, a couple of people had asked me, they saw the podcast. There was a big non-typical before, and they thought rumors fly when it comes to hunting. It's like worse than cheerleading camp or something. But that deer was killed in New Jersey. It was killed in PA, and that's probably, yeah, it's definitely going to score more. But it was a PA deer in a fenced-in 400-acre thing that my boss literally said, "Come into work today, bring camo. We're going hunting," and kind of threw us all off. And his son, who doesn't even hunt, came. And he took us to this place out in PA, and it's a free trip. I used the bow, everybody else used rifles, and I got that one. But in like, hunting out in public and, like, not in a fenced-in area, that's the biggest. Yeah.
yeah,
I don't think I'll
awesome.
ever get
Congrats.
anything bigger than that.
Well,
It's
I
my
don't know.
first one really with any kickers too, really to it, and which is what I wanted, a tight rack kickers. I didn't think there was anything mass wise like this one. I hope he was with every doe there was. I never had him on camera mounting a doe or locked on a doe or anything. So
Well, he definitely bred out there. There's no doubt about it.
yeah, I have his
You
jaw.
know,
It's
I
pretty, like, his teeth are low. He's definitely older. I got to send them out still.
I was gonna, yeah. What are you thinking? You thinking 4.5, or are you thinking 5.5, or
I never really looked at a deer's teeth. That's another thing because I never killed anything probably older than 4 that I know of, besides the one from Illinois, but that might not even have been that old. I don't know. It was just their monster bodies out there. But that deer's
yeah?
almost 300 pounds. And I never seen teeth like this. Like, I've looked at a couple of them and they're like really worn down. I mean, not all the way or anything like that, but they're worn more than I've ever noticed a deer. So I think definitely over 4.5. I would say probably 5.5, 6. I know of him as of 3 to 4 years, I believe. I'd have to go back and look at pictures. I think 2020. So that'd be
Right,
5 years. He was
right,
non-typical. I don't know what he was before that. I jump
right.
around a lot. And once I find a deer, I kind of lock in on that one and try to get that one. You know what I mean?
I'm sure. I'm going to tell you a story real quick about deer teeth, but I have to just tell you, this old fashioned was going to be cheers to you for getting the other side of it. I've been drinking it since we started, but it's salutis to you for finding that, and your buddy for finding that other half, and for you, and to you for killing that beautiful deer.
Thank you, sir.
But I wanted to tell you real quick. I had a spot that I have a spot that I hunt, private spot, and there was basically a one sided. He had a little something on one side and a nice rack on the other side. And I let him go for like 4. He was at least 4 years old, but he was not one I was going to shoot because he's only had one. He literally had one side and like a spike on the other side, and it never changed. All the years I've seen him, it was exactly the same, and the good side didn't seem to grow either. So finally, one year I shoot him because it's February. I think it's zone 36 I'm in. So we got until almost till Valentine's Day. Basically, it was one of them years where I shot a couple does for other people and didn't, donated them to the firehouse. So anyway, I shoot this buck. Don't think much about it. It was cool. It was, I almost felt bad because it was beautiful deer, big body deer.
Yeah.
So get him out, bring him to a guy who no longer does it, but the guy cleans the skull for me and he does a Euro mount for me. And he calls me up and he goes, man, this is definitely an old deer. He goes, but what's even cooler is he's got 4 canine teeth. And I'm like, really? I've never shot a deer that I noticed that he had 4 canine teeth like a dog has.
Yeah.
So so I have racks. I mean, I have nothing. I have a little thing up here just to be behind me. I got a couple mounts in there. I got Euro skulls just all over the place on top of cabinets and shit all over.
Yeah.
So now I look at this buck when I get it and I'm like, wow, that is really freaking cool. But I run a business basically out of my house. So shit gets moved around. I ended up after like 2 years of that thing getting moved left and right, never put it on the wall, you know, drop it, knock it down, bust off at least, well, I think I busted off 2 of them. I found one of them. I have photos of it.
Yeah.
And I'm still digging in the corners to find the other canine, but I had a really cool old buck with 4 canines, and I freaking dropped it, knocked it off a shelf, and busted half of his face off.
They're
And
like in the front, they were like a dog. Like, I gotta look at that. I have it over there, the teeth. I gotta look at mine
yeah,
afterwards.
I don't know how rare it is.
Yeah.
For me, it was rare. I mean, the guy that was cleaning the skulls, said he's only seen it once before, but I think I looked it up, and I think it's like a piebald where, me and you may
Okay.
think, I may think it's super rare, but some they're
Yeah.
not. They're not. They are
Yep.
rare, but not as rare as you would think. But yeah, four
Hmm.
canines. And then what I'll do is I'll pop a photo up, even though this is about you, not me, but because
Yeah.
I mentioned it, I'll pop it up there. I don't think it's super rare, but unless
Hmm.
you're looking for it, if you clean a skull, you're going to know it. So
Yeah.
this guy, told me that. But the point of the story was that now I was just asking Paul Pater, give me some ideas for. I got to get all my Euro mounts. No matter how big they are, they got to all get
Yeah.
put up. Just
Yeah.
on a 2x4, up and down, just line them up because I can't. I mean, I'm moving shit all over the place, and that's one I didn't want to break, and I dropped it.
Yep.
So, but it's still
Yep.
here. I still got it. But
All my Euro mounts are I gave to my dog. I cut the racks off and gave them to my dogs and she chew on, or my wife took them, and those are the only ones she allows me to put in the house, except for this one. This one, he's in the main living room, and it's
yeah,
funny. I have a bear next to me too, and I brought my baby girl. She's a year and a half, and I brought her in this way through the basement. And like my man cave room, and I forgot she hasn't really been down here since she was like a real, like, not really knowing what's going on. And I opened the door, and it's like kind of dark in here during the daytime, but you could see, and she saw the bear and she saw the deer, and she was just like put her head and she freaked out, and I'm like, oh my god, I was in a hurry. It was so funny. So she don't like coming down here now, but this one, when I put it upstairs, she's okay with it, and she kind of talks to it and points to it here and there.
yeah. I'll post a picture of it in your like what is that? Your family room, your hallway that you put it with the nice paneling
Yeah,
behind it.
that's yeah, yep, that's like the
Yeah,
front door area. It's a bi-level.
yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah,
It looks good.
I'll
I
send
got
you some
some
other
photos.
pictures too.
Yeah, definitely. I'll. But as I'm saying this, those pictures will already be up. I'll do a quick edit and throw some pictures up. But yeah, it looks awesome in there.
Do you want me to at the end take this camera and show around like the whole deer
Yeah,
to
yeah.
see
We
it, to get a
can,
good look?
we can,
Yeah.
we can. I want
And you
to.
could
I want
edit
to
it
say
if you don't
something.
want it in. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, no, no. Definitely would be cool. I mean, what I was going to say is in the beginning of this, I said it's one of the cooler or coolest New Jersey bucks I've seen. And the photos that I pop up are much better than the angle. I mean, right now it looks badass. I mean, what we're saying here, but
Yeah.
that thing is incredible, man. And I'll throw up a couple of the photos that we put in the first podcast of it on the hoof, from your trail
Yep.
cam, and that thing is like scratching itself on the side in
That
one
one, yeah,
picture.
is crazy.
It's
Yeah.
sick,
That's my
man.
favorite. That's my favorite
Wow.
picture.
So
Yeah.
with that being said, if anybody looks at that picture, that hunts. I mean, the only people who really watch this are hunters anyway. But if you see that picture, I just think of you as if it was me, and I had that. I'm going through my camera car. I'm like, damn. If this thing would only daylight, damn man, look, it's unbelievable. And then you're up there in the tree stand looking for a different look, going after a different buck, and you see
Yeah,
that guy
because
in
I
the
know this
background,
one's not coming. Yeah.
right? It's
And when he
wild,
was there,
man.
he was there. Like he was already at 20 yards. I shot him at like 15. Like he had one more, two more steps, and behind this huge Y, and he was in the middle of the Y when I had seen him come up the hill. And I'm like, this isn't even real. And funny story is my good friend, my best hunting buddy, Josh and Dave. Um, we run the cameras together. I'm the bait guy, he's the camera guy. He wanted this deer, and we had talked for like the past 2 years, like if this deer comes in, he's like, you're not allowed to shoot it. And the same thing, so I was after a really big deer on the other side of where we hunt at, that my buddy Joe, the taxidermist, actually got out of the tree that I sat in on Saturday. He got it on Monday, which is great. Great guy, older guy, awesome dude. And I hunted that deer really hard, probably harder than this one, because he's like, yo, if that deer, the other one, comes to my spot, which it was possible, I'm not going to shoot it. I'm like, Josh, you've killed one 8 pointer. You're new to hunting. If you don't shoot this deer, you're an idiot. He's like, I'm not going to do it. So then if we get this deer gets on camera, I told him a spot, you could try it, check it out of an area, and boom, we get this one on camera. We kind of knew, but there was guys everywhere, you didn't want to deal with it. But then they realized they don't really hunt; they just bait, and a lot of them. And so he's like, dude, that's my dream buck. And I'm like, yeah, that's mine too. And he's like, you can't shoot this one. I'm like, dude, I'm not. So for like 2 years, I've been joking with him. Well, I just shot a nice one muzzleloader season this year, a nice buck. And I said, I called him climbing down the tree because I'm all out of breath and climbing down. I'm like, dude, I got him. I got moose buck. And he's like with a client or something at work. And he's like, no, you didn't. Goodbye. Hung up on me. And I'm like, God, he's really wants this deer, which is great. And I mean, he doesn't hunt nearly as much as me because he doesn't have the time for this business. But I'm like, Josh, you think that I can pass that deer up? I said, no, none of us are going to ever get this deer. You know what I mean? Like when it came daylight, it was wintertime, and real early season we had a couple like where you could maybe shooting light. I forget the times on it, catching them, going and coming from the food source. And he when I put my cameras on the runs, this deer was hour before sunup every day, back to where he was coming from out after, sometimes even like half hour after coming out of where he was coming from. Like we didn't know like where he was coming from or how far, you know. It was so far
Right.
away, which is crazy. And he would travel sometimes. He would be all the way on the other side of where we hunt at. Of people have had him on camera and thought, you know, they were after that deer. They were going to get that deer, and that and their camera is 7 o'clock at night. I'm like, if he's at 7, then he's coming from even further to get to you. And this was like not supposed to happen, but it just happened. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
like, what the hell? You know, it was a total shock. And
Yeah. And how many roughly, how many days you think you put in the stand that season, this last
oh,
season?
dude, I actually counted it. I had a log, and it was like something crazy. Like I think maybe this is just a rough estimate. I want to say it was like I think it was 130 or 150 hunting days, and I was out like 122 or something like that, including, you know, scouting.
Okay.
So 100, I would say I was out like I was out hunting, and I didn't always go, even though I had this deer on camera in a certain area, I still would hunt miles away for other deer, you know, that I was after, you know, with better wind direction or, you know, whatever the case may be. But I hunted probably way too much for having a kid and everything. So this year, now that I found that other side, it was a weight lifted off my shoulder. I know that it was a shed buck. It is what it is, but it feels so much better. When I found out I didn't have the side on it, it was such a, it sucked for, you know, people starting rumors about it. And like, you're just like, dude, why would I lie or why? Like, it's so dumb. Like, and then you get the guys, like a couple buddies of mine sticking up for me, like, I would have shot it with one side. I would have shot it with no sides, you know. So it is what it is. But I put in probably 100, I would say a hunt. Let's say if there was 150 days to hunt, I was out there probably 125, which is insane.
So
Not
my
morning
point of
and
asking,
afternoon, but
yeah. No, no, I got you. But my point of asking you that is, because there's people who, no matter what, you're going to get haters. It happens no matter what. Anybody that has any kind of success or speaks like they have success, they always have haters. You put in probably 3 times more than a guy that actually goes out and hunts a decent amount. I'm a 60 to 75 day a year guy. Some guys hunt like you more. Some guys hunt
yeah,
less. Some guys hunt a lot less. But the point is that people will bash you no matter what, and they put like 5 days in the stand. Or
yeah,
like you mentioned, you said something which is true, and some people may not like it, but that's okay. They can comment in this. I don't mind hearing it. You said they don't hunt, they bait. And the funny thing is, there are a lot of guys that end up, because they might not have time, they have jobs, they have restrictions, whatever, but
yeah,
or they don't like the cold, or they don't have bow hunt or whatever. There's guys that will go out and bait and have pictures and push deer
love the
around.
pictures.
Yeah. And they're out there not really hunting properly. Maybe they don't know. Maybe they need somebody to work with them, help them. But in the end, it helps guys like yourself that's out there a lot. Like you were
Yeah,
saying, when they start pushing deer around and moving them around throughout the season, to me, it's beneficial for a guy that hunts properly, plays the wind right, doesn't blow up a spot, doesn't go out and bait, 8 in the morning or right before dark, does all of the work that it takes to try to keep our intrusion at a minimum. Those guys are helping us. Just like the guy that hangs his ladder stand the day Sunday before the opening day of shotgun. I'm not a huge shotgun hunter, but I go out. It's tradition. And 99% of the time, like this year, I just went and sat at a random spot and somebody pushed them off of state land. I was across the street from state land, pushed them. He ran through a field, came up the top of the field, turned around to look at who pushed them. And I mean, they pushed him. He ran like 150, 200 yards. And when he turned around, it was just enough for me to be able to know he was there and put a round through him. So
yeah,
it's
yeah,
not even hunting. I mean, but
yeah,
I went and sat. I was sitting on
yeah,
the ground, but these guys they push in the land and they move around. I'm cool
yep,
with that. I don't care how you hunt. To me,
yeah,
I've said this before. I don't care how you hunt. If you're out there and you're trying and you're enjoying yourself and you're smiling about it, as long as you're doing things legal, I'm cool with that. I think that's great. If you're, I had mentioned on another podcast, it might have even been the first one with you. I heard another podcast or couple podcasts where guys are bashing people for, oh, that guy only he wears a Cabela's shirt, but that's it. I say it all the time. Anybody that promotes the sport, promotes camo, promotes the lifestyle, to me, is a benefit to all of us because we are a dying breed.
Yeah.
and we have to pass it along, and we have to embrace everybody. I don't care if you hunt with a crossbow. I don't care if you're a compound guy and you get made fun of by a traditional guy. Nobody should be made fun of. You're out there having a good time and you're embracing the sport. We have to embrace them. That's just my
Yeah.
thought on it.
Yeah. And I love I think the most favorite part about deer hunting is scouting with my buddies and tracking deer. Especially like I've met a couple where I hunt at, I've met a couple people that I'm still friends with just running into them at their car later, coming out like, make sure he's okay or something. You see a car sitting there, you wait to make sure the person gets out of the woods. You've seen that car there a bunch and the dude's not out of the woods there. You see flashlights going. I love tracking deer. That's like my favorite. Me and my buddy Dave are like on our hands and knees through freaking the thickest shit for anybody. And then, I've drug deer out for people, gut deer for people, because after you find them, they have no idea what they're doing. And it's like, come on, let's get this thing out of here. And like
Yeah.
that's fun. Like seeing people
Yeah.
excited. That's like my favorite. And I share info with a lot of like people that hunt in the same state land as me, and they just they just backstab you, thinking that they're gonna get over on you or go there when you're not there. If it's meant to be, it's meant to be. You know what I mean? If you're gonna go behind my back and jump in a spot that I'm hunting, it is what it is. It's state land. I can't do nothing about it. Why get mad? I'm
Yeah.
not gonna call you, names, and it is what it is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I said, there was a bunch of people that were probably after this deer before I was after it. And once I got word of it, I was on it, and I have the time to hunt. And those guys, like they might bait, they can't hunt, they got kids. I'm definitely not going to hunt as much as I did this year last year. I got this year, and there's not going to be anything bigger. I know there's going to be big ones, but I don't really. I feel like a weight lifted off my shoulder.
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure you did. You conquered something that is pretty incredible. And the fact that, and I think about this, the fact that you took a shot at it, happened to have dropped one side. It's a super smart deer that's on the wall behind
Exactly.
you. That deer eluded people from. First of all, that deer eluded people,
Miles.
whether it had ant miles, a lot of people on it, public land, and let's face it, there's guys who are out. They're out hunting late for meat. If that deer dropped both sides and it happened to be running by with a pack of deer, it might have got dropped. Somebody thinking it's an antlerless deer. They don't even know. I
Oh,
mean,
body was huge.
most people, yeah, most people have shot what they think is a big doe, and then you walk up and you're like, shit, it's a shed buck. So that deer was smart enough to elude a lot of people. So no matter what, you got to be, super proud of a magnificent
Yeah.
New Jersey. That's not a magnificent New Jersey buck. That's a magnificent buck in any state. It really
Yep.
is.
Yep. Yeah,
There's
I agree.
no doubt about it. Yeah, I mean,
Yep.
for that buck to get that old and to elude that many hunters is sharp. That's a sharp deer right there.
Yep.
So you're going to have people who are going to bash it. It's always going to happen. But, we learn to just, you got to blow it off and just keep moving on.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. Looking
So,
forward to this year.
so this year we'll see what happens. I mean, without you saying too much, do you have your eyes on anything or
Oh, there
the
was
one
so
that
many
you
nice
missed last
deer.
year?
The one that I missed last year should be a good one. Should be. And there's a couple other ones running with him. There's a couple other. I hunt in like a big area where it's like in different townships. There's a couple over, closer to me at home that I saw late season, just scoping fields and stuff that I might try to get on. I think this year is going to be more of another year for me running and gunning the same thing. I'll put my cameras. I do bait. Don't get me wrong. I do bait. I would say sit on my bait. If a deer shows up that morning in daylight, I might sit on it that night. I don't sit on my bait unless that deer has showed itself once, at least on daylight, because they're coming into the bait already downwind and you're fucked anyway. You're not hiding
Yeah.
your scent from these deer here
Right.
where I'm at. It's not like you're in Illinois, you know what I mean, or somewhere. And even there, they smell you. So if you just imagine there, where there's less people and there's freaking hundreds of people where I'm at, in and out of the woods all day. But yeah, I mean, I'm just gonna kind of run and gun, and that's probably, one thing on state land that people don't like because they put their ladder stands up and they hunt the same ladder, and then I see my truck and it's like, oh, he's hunting over here, or there must be a big buck over there, and a lot of times I'm just hunting and I can't
Yeah.
dodge everybody, so it is what it is. It's state land. So just see
Yeah.
where the year goes. I know that I feel like it's going to be a good year just because I don't really care what I'm going after. I'm not going to shoot anything unless it's nice and going on my wall. And the price of taxidermy is up like a lot more than the last time I got one mounted. So I usually don't shoot them unless they're going to go on my wall. Like I said, I didn't wasn't sure about a couple of them that I passed up that I should have shot, but it's going to be hard to top this one. I always say I want to go bigger, and I don't think that's going to happen in a long time. But I would like a nice big long time mainframe buck, so that's what I would be targeting this year.
Um, two questions before we wrap this up. Where does a South Jersey guy that shoots a monster buck and his buddy finds a rack? Where does he take his buddy for a good steak in South Jersey?
So I actually didn't bring him to a steak place. So it happened, like I said, it was Mother's Day weekend, and he's married, older guy, not old, but older guy. As soon as he called me up, he's like, "You owe me a steak dinner." So like I was already thinking, if this guy finds this deer, because he puts miles in, dude, and he's good at it. I said, if he finds this deer, am I gonna offer him money? Now I hunt with him too, shotgun weeks. I'm like, I'm just gonna be a slave to this guy and do anything he needs buck week. And they want me to go mark trees, like I'd like sell my soul to him if he happened to find this,
Yeah.
because I like this was. And he said steak dinner. So I went to a place in Trenton, Victor's or something, I think it was called. And they usually, I think, have like a 30-day dry age tomahawk. And like this is like everything was like 30-day dry age, which I am not a steak guy at all. I did buy myself one, but I bought him, I think it was a 60 day. I don't remember the cut, but it was like the marbleized. It wasn't Wagyu, but it was like Black Angus, but the crazy thick marbleized, like bone in, huge. I got him one and his wife one because it was Mother's Day. And then I got myself like a $30 one, but his was like big money. And the guy gave me a good deal on it. I went right to his house and delivered it as soon as I got it because it was not frozen. They don't freeze it or anything. And I brought it right to him. It was the best one he had there. So and that they got them giant tomahawks that they sell for a good amount.
Yeah.
That'd be my next one to try, I guess. And the one I had was great. I mean, it was pretty good. Now the way he told me to cook it was a little too cool inside for me. I like it medium rare. This was like rare, barely cooked, but it was pretty good.
I like
So.
them red. So you're not a bourbon guy either, I guess?
Nah, I can't do the bourbon. I'm a tequila guy.
Okay. Okay, cool. That's
Tequila,
cool.
beer.
All right.
I
Yeah.
don't even really drink that much, really.
Yeah.
But
Good.
yeah,
Well, I wish I lived close to you because I'd be looking for every one of your
yeah. One day you'll bring me on one of those hunts with you out to Illinois or Ohio just to tag along. I'll be your
Yeah.
camera guy or
Well,
something.
we'll get together and get out there definitely. My last question is really not even a question, but give new hunter that only has access to public land, give me, not me, give the new hunter that's watching this a little advice. If a guy's, he knows how to shoot, he practices, whether it's with his gun or his bow or his crossbow or his compound, whatever. So he knows he can hit a target. He thinks he can hit a target, thinks he can hit a deer. Give him a little advice on checking out a piece of public land and what is should he ground hunt? Should he put a setup? Throw a couple cameras out, not bait, scent. What's your thought for a
If
new
I was,
hunter, guy
if
with
I,
minimal experience?
From somebody going into it, I would say at least two cameras. I use cell cameras. The biggest thing is I walk a lot of woods. I drive a lot of trails and woods. Look for the sign that you want, the scrapes, the rubs, probably rubs earlier season, and then look for people. Look for tire tracks, people tracks. There's a lot of, I don't want to say like, I guess they are not uneducated, but like a lot of people walk in through a bag of corn and they set up a camera. They don't know that 30 more feet in is your camera and corn pile. You know what I mean? The less corn pile in an area, that I think the better chances you're going to get. But I would
Hmm.
start out, find the sign. If there's nobody around you, set up bait. Don't pile it on top of each other. Spread it out nicely. Throw a camera on it. See what's on there within the next couple of days. If you want to hunt it, hunt it. You're not going to really probably know where the deer are coming from unless the rub line's going to the swamp. So he's coming from the swamp. Watch your wind direction. If it's blowing in the swamp, you're pissing in the wind. You're not going to see this monster buck you want to kill. You'll see a spike, maybe a six pointer. And then once you got something that's worth shooting that you want to shoot on bait, if it's a mature buck and he's coming on at nighttime, I would start branching out 100 yards, 500 yards, and get another camera. Maybe a little bit of bait or a scrape line would be the best. Sometimes they're hard to find, and put that on there and see if he's hitting that scrape line, what time, and kind of piece them together on your times. Hunting is so hard because on state land because others make it hard. They're in the woods too much. They're not, scent control, which I don't really use scent control walking in and out looking. Only when hunting, and I really don't even use it then. I just kind of always just play the wind. That's all your best, your number one. I wear deodorant actually, regular deodorant. I go right from work every day, oil, diesel, everything. I don't have time to go shower. You just play the wind right and have patience and know that like it's okay to go home that day because it's a bad wind and you're after a good buck.
Right.
I will guarantee you that it'll work out eventually for you, as long as there's not somebody else in the area messing it up for you. but it's just patience, man. Like one of my good friends. He don't care the wind direction, and he knows where the deer is coming from, and he's going no matter what. And I know that we were after the same one. That deer will come all the way over to where I am, which is a mile away. And I don't know if it smelled him, but there's other people in the area too that they could have smelled because the distinct area that it was coming from. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So just I would all you gotta do is set a couple cameras, maybe one bait pile to target it, and I leave it for about 2 days. If it's nothing that I want to get, shoot at or like worth going after, I move on to the next spot and I throw just a little bit
Yeah.
of corn out. You don't need the whole bag, you know what I mean? And then
Yeah.
just be incognito. I use a climber. A lot of guys use saddle hunting. I sweat like I'm 600 pounds, so I don't think I could ever saddle hunt. So I climber hunt. I carry a saw in. I cut trees. Now I've been hunting so long that I literally have probably 500 trees where I hunt in hundred, I don't know how many square miles, 100 square miles that I could go to that I don't need to bait, that I know that there's runs that they use. It's just time, you know what I mean? If somebody's interested that's in South Jersey that wants to learn, tell them, shoot me a Facebook invite. I love showing people and working with
Yeah.
others to, teach, not teach them, but like it's fun to have a buddy that does the same sport and is a little bit educated. I'm sure I don't know everything, but I hunt some really high pressure deer and you know, there's a couple other guys where I hunt at that are pretty good at it too. So
Gotcha.
it's tough.
Good. Yeah, it's some good advice. I mean, looking for sign and then looking for other people and trying maybe setting up somewhere else
Yeah.
if there's multiple people right there. It's good advice. And and it's funny because you said your buddy who will hunt no matter what because he knows there's deer in that area and good win, bad win. My last deer of this year, I shot a buck in a spot that I overhunted by a lot because it was easy to get to. I actually had a ground blind, which I'm not really fond of, but when it gets cold out, the ground
Yeah.
blind is nice. I had a heater in there, which I try not to turn on because once you turn on a heater and then you got to shut it off before it's dark, otherwise they can see
Mhm.
you freeze. But it's funny. I shot the buck, and I tell people that buck came in 20 yards in front of me, and I killed it because that buck said to itself, "There's no way this asshole is sitting in here again." But
Yeah.
the great equalizer is food with snow, ice pack on the ground, and snow. They got to take a chance. I mean, that's just how
Mhm.
I ended my season. But yeah, I
Yep.
like your advice. That was good sound advice.
If it's like the Pine Barrens, dude, these deer are smart. I mean, there's a farm that hunted local to us, and you could see their stands in these wide open fields. I mean, if I could see it, you don't think this deer that lives there every day can see it? Like what was that guy was never going to kill this deer. He's probably never going to kill anything over 100 inches out of
Right,
there. Oh, well, that's
right.
fine. He could be that meat hunter. You know what I mean? The meat hunters to me are the guys that just don't have the patience to get this, and that's okay. You want to eat deer meat all the time? I'd rather go to McDonald's. I'm not
Yeah,
a good cook. My wife won't touch it. So most of the
yeah,
deer I shoot is for the sport, and it's a fun sport to me. And I donate it though. It doesn't go to waste. You know what I mean? It always goes home. Like my buddy took this one, and he did say the meat was kind of a little rough. I mean, this deer had like fur, like it wasn't even like hair. It was like fur on a freaking wolf or something. It was weird. Like, and I don't see it as much now that it was mounted, but the hoofs on it were huge. Like it was just weird, old looking that I wasn't ever used to.
right.
So,
No, I got
but
you. And something I've heard. I don't know if you mentioned it last time or for the new hunter. Start logging some stuff on a pad.
oh
The
yeah,
wind, what you saw. Start to learn the wind. Learn what's predominant in your area, what's not set up properly, and take notes. A lot of these apps now, I think I right now I don't promote any app. I use I think Hunt Stand, and
hunt stand.
it's
Yeah,
it
that's
may it may be good, it may be bad, I don't know, but there
the
is the
best is the
ability for me
camera
to log
apps.
shit.
I just found out I use Tacticam, and again, I'm not promoted by them. They probably don't even know who I am. You know what I mean? Well, I know that they don't know who I am, but I found that my one of my buddies, Josh, showed me. There's like, yo, there's a map, and I saw how many times this deer came in. What was the percentage and win percentage of when he came in? And it was always in the bad wind. Like I would have never got him, basically.
Right.
The to my bait cameras that was. And now to my run cameras and stuff, which a lot of people get discouraged because you don't get that many deer on a run camera. I'm always moving them every Sunday, my run cameras, until I find the good runs. The run cameras were different because most of the time it was dark, but like there was none of them big bucks that I was after that were just going to come. They did come daylight, a couple of them, like pure daylight during the rut, but like they would have never came that day because I saw on there with the what the wind was on that picture time. There's just no way. If they would have, I would have already got them by now. you know,
Right.
because they do move during daylight, but there's a reason
Again,
why you don't see them
yeah.
during daylight.
Oh yeah, they're moving. They're
Yep,
moving. Just you're not seeing them for a
because
reason.
they smell
Usually,
you from
yeah.
hundreds of yards, hundreds.
Usually,
They hear.
you're not seeing them because of a mistake you're making.
Yep, and another good piece of advice is if you are hunting state land or so it's crazy. I have property up in like Belmead area that I can hunt. I could eat a cheeseburger and like play video games and probably listen to music and I could kill a deer there. Stupid how dumb they are. But there's no monster bucks. I mean, every once in a while one cuts through, if you're hunting public land or an area that's high pressured, you pay attention to what you're driving on alone, which probably 90% of the people watching just don't think that they're going down a long rock road
Yep.
that nobody ever travels except for when they're going hunting or when they're going baiting. And you don't think they can hear them rocks on a pin drop day 600 yards away? They hear them
Yep.
rocks, they're not moving. They
Yep.
hear you walking through the woods, they're not moving. They're not dumb. They live
Yep.
there. You know what I mean? They know that we're a danger. So
Yeah.
there's just so you need to have self-control to get a big one. And that's not, I don't know if that's why I got this one. I was on a run that I had seen a lot of deer on, and there was a guy that had a bait pile, 100 and some yards away, and there was a couple other guys that were trying to get in behind that guy. And then there was another point that there was my camera was on with bait, which was like at 150 yards away. So I was like kind of in the middle, and I'm trying to like dodge these guys, but like I've been hunting there too for a while. This deer might have been a little bit of luck because it was late season, but he was going down a run to go towards like a big farm. I don't know. He might have stopped at one of the other bait piles. Who knows? My other one, I don't know. You just got to have like patience when it comes to hunting. So if you got one spot,
Yeah.
don't hunt as much as 120 days out of 160 days because you're just pissing in the wind. I mean, you're educating these deer is what you're doing. Just pay
Yeah.
attention what you drive in on, pay attention how you walk in, all of that.
Yeah. What's interesting is I'm listening to you, and being I'm in the business of products. I talk to so many people, and listening to what you're saying. Sometimes one of the questions I get a lot, like you're talking about bait. New Jersey, we can bait. So in a state that you can't bait, we're getting bashed 100% because they can't bait. We can.
Yep.
We're bad, and we're doing it wrong. In New Jersey, the guy who doesn't bait and bashes you probably does bait a little bit, but he's still going to
Yeah.
bash you because he
Yeah.
all his buddies, he tells them all, I don't bait. But the
Yeah.
funny thing is that I get a lot of customers that ask me questions about, the bucks and the does and this and the baiting and the scent and this. And they say, well, why would I use, I'm just going to use this as an example real quick. They'll be like, well, why would I use scent if I can bait? And first thing is in my brain, I'm thinking, I don't make bait. So you're calling me to ask me why you should use the scent, and you're telling me you bait. Good example, which is exactly what you said. You talked about driving in on a gravel road. You're walking on a gravel road, or you're walking across frozen leaves in the morning, and you're throwing out bait. They pattern you. It's their living room. It's their home. So they pattern you. They hear the gravel road. The wind shifts. They can, whether they smell you or not, they know there's bait there. They smell it. You're dumping it on the ground. They know they can come after dark and eat it. They know
Yeah.
you just fed them. So why would they come in when you're sitting in that stand? Now you leave. You drive out 30,
Yeah.
after 30 minutes after sunset. They hear you leave. A lot of times you go home and check your camera the week
Boom.
later, or if you have a cell camera, boom, 5 minutes later, they're there.
Yeah.
So what I tell people is with scent, and I'm talking about deer scent, deer lure, stuff that I sell. If you bait and you bait, however you bait, I'm not a
Mhm.
big bait guy. I'll bring a Ziploc bag, a regular sandwich size Ziploc bag. I bait when I leave, so they find it. I may not hunt there for 4 or 5 days. That bait is gone the first night, but they're there 4 or 5 days in a row looking for
Mhm.
bait. But when I go there, I'll hunt with scent and a scent wick. So even if they heard me come in and I climb up in a ladder and I put out a scent wick, when that wind shifts around and they're laying back, sometimes they'll catch the scent,
Curious.
and they'll come in thinking there's other deer already on the bait
Hmm.
pile. It must be safe. I kill a lot of deer that way with a Ziploc bag of bait.
Hmm.
And I'm not a guy that goes out and puts out 50-pound bags of corn. It's just I don't have the time, or I don't even want to spend the money doing it.
Yeah.
But the effort is really what it is. But so my point is that you'd mentioned driving in on a gravel road. Most hunters will think about that. The new guy probably won't. I
Yeah.
mean, I leaf blow. I have certain spots that I'll clean I'll take the leaf blower and I'll blow off the leaves like mid-October, blow them off
Hmm.
as heavy as I can. Depending on when I'm going to hunt it, I might even go back early November, I won't hunt it, but I'll blow off my walking path. So at least I can get in pretty silent.
Yeah.
And that may end up being a December hunting spot,
Yep.
you
And
know,
then
because
if you're, go ahead.
I'm not walking in on crunchy leaves and
Hmm.
wasting my time sitting there. Just not
Yep.
doing it.
That's great with private property. Now, another thing for the guys that are hunting state land, you're getting kind of like leading somebody to your spot, and there's people out there
Mm-hmm.
that are going to hunt your spot when you're not there, or damn near close to it, because you kill one big buck, and it's like he's not in the woods to kill. I'm telling you, I can hunt places that I don't know what's there, and people are texting me like, "Oh, what are you doing over here? What are you doing over there?" Like, I'm just hunting, dude. Like, I'm trying to see
Yeah.
too what's out there. I don't need to go sit on my bait pile or a bait pile. I'm out there scouting too. Sometimes you get lucky doing that. I like that a
Right.
lot more anyway.
Yeah, it's fun. Again, getting out there, hunting, scouting, teaching, being a mentor to somebody, whatever it is, it's all good because we all love this outdoor lifestyle, and makes it fun. So Mario, we're gonna wrap this up.
You want to see the
Do you
deer?
want to do you want to pick that phone up that you're using and give us a little
Yeah, yep.
give it a shot. Let's see if you can
Let me see.
go.
I'm
Give
gonna
us a
turn
little.
the camera around, and you could probably edit it however you want.
Yeah, that's okay.
This way.
As long as
Shit.
you can hear me, I can.
How can I turn the camera around?
If not, use it just like that.
All right. So first, Signal 11 lures are one of my favorites, or probably the only one I use. And the buck that is this one right here, that one,
Right?
and the one up top, the 10 pointer. I got them both with your lures. This was an early
Appreciate that.
season one.
Nice.
That was my Princeton one, but this is
Look at that
the
baby.
trying to like look at it and at the same time, but
Awesome.
that's it.
Yeah, that sucker's bigger than you think.
Yeah,
Number wise, that's for
this is the
sure.
side that found,
Yeah.
and
Wow.
like I mean, you could see I can't
Oh yeah.
even, you know what I mean?
That might have been worth Wagyu beef. That's
Yeah,
that's incredible,
yeah,
man.
that guy didn't sell. That's probably the only reason why I didn't get it. But I actually never saw this split brow that's here that comes out. If you look, most pictures are like about like on an angle always with this deer, and because his
Yeah.
rack is so thick, you would never like you
Yeah.
can't see it at this angle. I actually didn't even
No.
know that he had that.
Yeah, I could see where you wouldn't see that. It has to be the
Because I
right
mean,
angle,
you
and it's
literally, and the
hidden.
camera's not down here, so you can't see it. So the camera at
Yeah.
eye level, there's no way possible to see that point.
Awesome, man. Awesome.
But that's
Beautiful,
it.
man. Awesome. You got a lot of beautiful deer back there. Congratulations on an absolutely incredible buck in any state and New Jersey. I don't want to say they're rare because maybe a buck exactly like that is rare, but there's a
Yeah.
lot of big bucks on a lot of walls in New Jersey that nobody shows pictures or talks about.
Yeah. Yep.
I don't blame them because we got a lot of a-holes in the state that
Yep.
like to talk shit, but
Yeah.
there's a lot of big, people always think New Jersey, they think refineries, they think the turnpike. They're
Yep.
like, there's not in Pine Barrens, there's no deer. North Jersey, there's no deer. There are some great genetics here. Comes down to age and letting them pass. And if you don't
Yep.
want to let them pass, God bless you, do what you got to do.
Yep.
But the only way to shoot a deer like that is he's either got to be in a
Too
in a clear
smart.
area where nobody's getting him, or he's got to be smart,
Is
or a
just yep.
couple people pass him at 2, 3, and all
Yep.
of a sudden he gets smarter, he finds a nicer spot, and he grows another year or two, and he turns into something like that.
If they
Yeah.
did away with the bait in Jersey and did like Pennsylvania or whatever, $1 for rifle or $1 for bow or whatever, New Jersey would be a top 10
No doubt.
place
There's
racked.
no
Yeah.
doubt. We're $6 right now, right? So they talked about they're
Yeah.
talking
Something like
about
that.
a seventh buck. They're talking
How?
about a seventh buck, which when I mean I do this podcast. I just had Jared Mills was on here, Midwest guy. A lot of people know him. Blake Garrett was just on here. When I tell people $6, they're like, "What?" Like,
Yeah.
a lot of these guys have, no idea. It is nuts. I don't know if it'll. I actually don't think it's ever changing on the way of,
No, because they think that there's
here's
too
my
many
here.
for population and cars
Yeah,
and all that.
yeah, it's never changing. The good thing is if you're get into hunting in New Jersey, you can have a lot of fun, get out there. We have a long season. I think some zones are unlimited does, some zones are 6 does per tag that you buy.
Hmm.
So the amount of deer you can shoot is incredible. There's still big deer coming out. They're still here. I don't think they're ever going to end baiting. I mean, the
Yep.
CWD thing is a bunch of bullshit. It's a money
Yep.
grab. There's no doubt about it. But the deer urine thing that they stopped, it's all bullshit. No deer's
Yeah.
contracting CWD from a 2-ounce bottle of deer pee that's been monitored at a deer farm before. All
Yeah.
right, I make synthetic now. But honestly, the synthetic is going to take over because I got Midwestern guys that would rather use a synthetic because it's stable, it's more consistent, there's no less bacteria in it, and I can make it the way I want, and it works. All of that shit is crazy. I think the worst thing the state of New Jersey did, and then we'll wrap it up, by banning the natural deer lure, and they actually added possession and sale, its possession and use. What happens is now you hurt the small businesses that are the stores where a
Mhm.
guy he doesn't hunt New Jersey, he doesn't have any land in New Jersey, he doesn't want to hunt public land. He's going to Ohio, he's going to his New York property or whatever. He can't even buy the deer lures that he wants to take with him because the
Yep.
state doesn't want to tell you if you use it in New Jersey, you're going to get in trouble. Okay. I don't agree with that, but that's one part of law. But to say you can't even buy it and take it
Yeah,
to
but
another state is ridiculous.
yeah. Yes.
Ridiculous.
Yep.
But welcome to the no fun state of New Jersey. So, Mario, congratulations on an incredible buck. Thank you for
Thank you,
coming on
sir.
twice with me. And anytime you want to come back, you're welcome. And anybody that has comments, please leave them below. We'll reach out. We'll respond. And like Mario said, if anybody's looking for a mentorship or something, he's got a lot of knowledge and he's willing to help in some capacity. Don't be afraid to reach out to him. Mario, thank you. Anything else before we go?
That's it, man.
All right. Very
You have a good
cool.
one.
Great
Thanks again. I'll
story.
see you
Love it.
soon, I'm sure.
Thank you. Yes. Good luck this season.
All right, man. I'll talk to you.
At this time, we'd like to thank our supporters and sponsors. Signal 11 Lures, Lip Glue, New Jersey Multi-Species Podcast, Sever Broadheads, Jersey Fluke Bellies, Favorite Fishing Rods, Timberlife Outdoors, and Buck Knives. If you enjoy the content on our podcast, please like and subscribe and turn on notifications. And please tune back in for our next episode. Thank you.